I have an idea. Let's talk about all the stuff we've smushed into our brains over the last 6 weeks of OLTD 512 and this topic of instructional design. First, we talked about instructional design and its history. I never thought of myself as an instructional designer. I'm a storyteller first. I always thought of myself as telling the story of science, weaving the story here and there so that it all made sense by the end. But after a little reading, it turns out being an instructional designer is what they try to teach us with lesson and unit plans in school. Well, as you know, all of that got thrown into a tornado and flipped upside down when we decided to have a pandemic party. All of a sudden, everyone was online trying to figure out what we could do and how fast we could make something happen for our students, making me wish now that I'd started this course a little bit sooner. Something else that I never really looked at was the needs assessment. I was not really taught to ask, who am I serving anyways as a teacher? Like most teachers, when I started fresh, I just jumped into the classroom, stole out of the textbook, and lectured my face off. This is the problem, I quickly realized. I had to find and translate and make everything my own if I ever wanted to tell this right story. The good news is that it forced me to think outside the box all the time. Then, after a few looks at teaching models, I realized that while ADDIE has been around for a while, what I fell into as a junior teacher fits in somewhere in the ADDIE world. Thinking about what I wanted to teach, asking how I could get there, planning my lessons to achieve that goal for my students, and then teaching it, followed by praying they all passed my summative assessment, then evaluating it to see if it all worked the way I thought it would. One thing that I really appreciated from all of my learning so far, but especially with this class, was not only the different resources that I discovered, but also what was shared with us through lectures and my peers' reviews. Computers obviously were a thing when I started teaching. However, besides the smartboard and some interactive clips, there was not a lot out there when I first hit the deck as a new teacher. Since 2008 and the modern cell phone coming out and into our pockets, it seems there has been a learning explosion allowing us to communicate, present, organize, search, connect, create, and YouTube our faces off. So one thing that I was happy about all this learning time together in 512 was that we were forced to look outside our regular toolbox to find something like this current presentation software, that we all walk out of here with a bigger, tool chest. We took a philosophical pause in week 4 to look at the moral dilemmas that we have to now add to our list of things to navigate as teachers. Between screen time and best practice, free learning, we all had a lot to say and take away from each other. My takeaway was pretty simple. Follow the Hippocratic Tech Ed Oath. Do your best, try not to hurt anyone while you do it, and always revisit what you're doing to see if you can make it better. That last thing seems to be the key to success. Always check to see if you can make it better. This is, of course, what we learned when we put our money where our mouth was. We designed our courses. The best and biggest takeaway for me for this process was that there's a better way for me to do what I've been doing. Laying out the information a little differently made a huge difference when it came time to follow along as a student or a parent at home. That home practice I'll take away into next semester for sure. So, there you have it. 6 weeks and my many thought-filled hours later, you walked my journey, and here we are at the finish line. Well, for now.